We got a lot of questions over our most recent round of shows about where are the dogs. Would you like to explain the fact that the dogs are still in this room? You just can't see them as much. I hear one licking himself at the moment, so I know that they're still here.
I just posted this on Patreon. I took some pictures because when we had showed our new office setup, there was a bunch of comments. What about the dogs? I don't see any dog beds.
Where's there a couch?
And I love that you guys worried about them. Basically, we've got so many dog beds in this house.
There's more dog beds than human beds in this house.
Yeah, if you have dogs, just tell me, what is the ratio of dog to dog bed in your home?
Jeff, case in point. Little buddy.
Jeff,
they're behind us. We dragged their living room beds into here, and because they have to be in here, if not they'll be laying on the floor. And
so there's one on both sides of us at the moment, and there's one right behind us, right underneath that screen.
Same is true with the cats. There's 3 cats and there's like 6 beds, including our bed.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then Derek, where's your dog? What's its name? Snots or what's it called?
Woody and Luna are currently downstairs, and they're in there. Okay, I think it's time to go for I can't say it too loud, WALK. So once we say that, so they're already kind of jacked up and I hear them. So they're going to go out on a walk soon. But I did represent with my new Roosevelt's dog shirt. So we didn't even plan this. That's how synced up we all are.
It's like when we tell Derek it's time to go for an IPA. So he gets real excited.
I just did the math. We have 3 dogs and there's 9 dog beds. If you don't count everything else they sleep on, which is our couch, our bed, the bed in my office.
Time for a 4th dog. Just saying.
Ooh.
Hey everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of the DVC Show. I am your host, Paul Krieger, joined as always by my lovely wife, Amy Krieger, and our 3 dogs that surround us. We've got John Sakari, Big Fat Panda, with us.
Welcome home, everyone.
The one, the only Derek DeBoer from the DVC Resale Market.
Hey now.
And our friend Jeff Haslam, and his puppy left him, so it's just Jeff Haslam now.
He'll be back. Hey, everybody.
All alone. Well, thank you guys, as always, for joining us for our ramblings and our fun. What was that? You forgot that?
People like this. I keep forgetting that that's supposed to be my thing.
You're supposed to be the mayor of Old Key West, too, but you sold half of your points. So
I still own plenty. Amy threw me under the bus, and people have been ratting me in the comments. Can't call him that anymore. He doesn't have any contracts. I got contracts. Just don't have as many.
He's still the mayor. You don't have to own the whole resort to preside over it.
Well, I'm really looking forward to this topic. Really.
Did we have topics on this show? I thought we just rambled for at least 15 minutes before we actually got to anything that was productive.
It's about dogs. We're just going to talk about dogs for an hour.
We could. We definitely. What were we on? Oh, we were featured on one of Gray's What's Brewing.
If you haven't had a chance to watch, so it's on the DVC Rental Store's YouTube channel, and it's Gray who he was in the Yachtsman. What's that
Cruise Cup
lounge called? Crew Cup. He was in the Crew Cup video with us. Really great guy. He's doing marketing stuff, and he has a new series called What's Brewing, and basically he interviews different people, and it's
Jeff was on a mini episode related to Flower and Garden, I think it was.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. He's a good dude.
Yeah, he is.
And he brings coffee. The first one he did was Tim and Jen Tracker, so that was an interesting one. But anyway, we got to be on it, and if you've ever watched Hot Ones, which is a really cool, Paul loves that show.
We're still doing it, Jeff.
Andy bought the hot sauces from it. But, the guy on there does a lot of research on the people before he interviews them. And Gray, I was really impressed with the things that he knew and asked about. I just wasn't expecting them. So really, really good show. If you get a chance to watch that, head over to DVC Rental Store YouTube channel.
Actually, Jeff, recently Gray actually agreed to do the Hot Ones thing with me, and then I was telling the other Jeff about it, and so the 2 Jeffs should interview Paul and Gray as we do the Hot Ones Challenge.
I love this idea.
Just because you get out of having to try the hot sauces. So
well, and I've always wanted to be Jimmy Fallon when I grow up, so I'm going to start writing questions. This is going to be great.
I'm going to be a spectator. It sounds like my job.
Well, this week on the DVC show, our topic is talking about two different types of Disney experiences. And Jeff, you came up with this topic, so why don't you kind of explain what you were thinking related to it?
Yeah, I don't know. I've kind of felt a little bit guilty lately because I've been really, really hard on Disney. You know, over the course of our Epic Universe shows and some of the other things, some of the decisions they've made. I watch the shows back mostly to see if I can do things to improve the way I do things, but also just to kind of, because when you're in the show, you don't really watch the show. And so I'll watch it back one time and I just like, man, I'm rough on Disney right now. So I was kind of like, thinking of things that we could do that, because I am still positive. I still love Disney. And the first thing that came to my mind was, well, let's go into something. For me, something immediately popped into my mind that we were kind of dreading or that we didn't want to do. Something that we were going to do at Disney that we didn't really want to, that actually surprised us, that actually exceeded our expectations. And I'm like, but can we do a whole show about that? So we're going to do the flip side too, which is something that we were really excited for that kind of left us wanting a little bit more. So we're gonna do both, I think.
Yeah.
And then your negativity won out and we get that other piece also.
Yeah.
Start with that part and then do the end on the positive.
Yeah, I'm still workshopping the title, so I hope I came up with a good one by the time this goes live. But I've written down like letdowns and surprises, what we totally got wrong, expectations versus reality, surprise and delight, which sounds like the wrong type of show, so we're not going to go with that one. Yeah, I love the topic, and I think that we can definitely have some great conversation about it. Before we get into it, this and all of our DVC fan content, we get to do this fun stuff because of our sponsors at the World of DVC. DVC Resale Market, if you're looking to become a Disney Vacation Club member, looking to buy a DVC contract, they can assist with that process. Monera Financial, who can help in financing that DVC Resale Market purchase, or the DVC rental store, where you can try before you buy, give a couple resorts a try for a fraction of the cost as it is direct through Disney. Or if you've got some extra leftover points this year and you're looking to do something with them, why not get some cash, rent those points out? So please, as always, you guys do a great job of showing some love for our sponsors. And since Amy mentioned at the top of the show, also, I'll just throw in a little plug for patreon.com/DVC fan, where we put up some behind the scenes footage and some other fun stuff for our Patreon community. And thank you so much to everyone that supports us on Patreon as well. And I think I'll kick off the conversation with you.
Am I starting with something?
Let's stay positive at first and then take it down into the dark dungeon cellar to round out the show at the end. So, something that pleasantly surprised you. You weren't looking forward to it, but in the end, you were like, wow, that exceeded expectations.
Okay. I don't know if not looking forward to it is the right, but I will say that the very last DVC resort that we ever stayed. So we have officially, as of last year in February, have stayed at every single DVC resort that exists. And it took us a long time to visit Hilton Head. And a lot of that was, it was just like, okay, we've been to Vero Beach. We like Vero Beach. It's easier to get to Vero Beach. Hilton Head is what we drove. Is it 6 or 8 hours? 6?
To get to Hilton Head from here?
From here, yeah.
About 5 hours.
5 hours, okay.
Yeah.
It's not that bad. But, I was like, do we want to drive clear to Hilton Head for 5 hours? We've got beaches surrounding us in Florida. It's not on the actual beach. It's in like a, back channel waterway area. Do we really want to go over there? So it was something I wanted to eventually do, but it was just kind of like the last choice. But then we went, and we went in February, which isn't even a time to use the beach. And I was very blown away by Hilton Head Island Resort. I loved it. I loved that where it was located. I felt like it didn't even need to be on the beach because, that whole back channel waterway was very pretty. It was very quiet. I love the rooms. I love the rocking chairs on the balconies. I loved the whole area and all the restaurants and little shops and farmers market and things like that. And then I thought it was just really easy to hop on the little shuttle and go to the beach, and the beach house had everything you needed there if you wanted to spend time there. There was a second pool at the beach and food and whatever else. And I was pleasantly surprised by how much I really enjoyed that resort. If you had to ask me what my favorite DVC resorts are right now, that would be in my top 5.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I want to go back. Like we haven't had time.
Yeah, just doesn't fit our schedule
it this year.
And
but
whenever we have these discussions, it always makes me so sad because, these are those little gems of resorts that you just know come 2042 might not be around anymore. Mm-hmm. And so, like, I always say, people don't sleep on these things. Take advantage of them while they're here because, they might not get recycled whenever they decide to do whatever they're going to do with these properties. So.
And I'm so glad that you said that, Amy, because I think you're exactly right in the fact that people that have their Disney Vacation Club membership, for me personally, I love, obviously, all the resorts in Florida are great, but, it's at Walt Disney World. So they all have different theming and they're all this. But once you experience a Vero Beach, once you experience a Hilton Head, you realize this is literally like the greatest thing that you could ask for because it's amazing Disney team members and cast members that have been there for years and years and years. And it's nice because it's just families spending time or couples spending time together without I've got my phone, I've got 84 things lined up and we have to go to this park and this dining reservation and this. Here it's like, let's just sit in a hammock and or let's just walk up and down the beach. So you don't have that stress of feeling the need to do 1,000 things, but you're completely immersed in that magic. I just think of me that, my God, how different my life would be if I never had Vero Beach in it. And it makes me incredibly sad because some of my favorite memories of my kids who are now, 20 and 16 have been at Disney's Vero Beach in all stages of their life. Yes, we have great memories. We just made more at the Poly a couple of weeks ago, but there's something about those resorts that I'm so glad. So if you haven't, as a member, if you haven't used your points to go to those, just do it. Just don't do it when I do it because don't mess up my availability. But other than that, you gotta go. You gotta go. So great choice, Amy.
Panda, give us something that you weren't super excited about that kind of pleasantly surprised you.
I've always loved the Country Bear Jamboree, and I was petrified as to how they were going to destroy it. My dad, if you ever see my dad, he looks like Big Al, and we've always said that like since I was a baby. I remember everybody seeing Big Al going, "Lenny," to my father, "It's you," and I thought, oh, they're going to ruin all these memories and everything. I got to tell you, the more I see it, the more I love the new version. Like, love it, which is crazy because Alexa, stop. Every time it's 6:30, she has to. And you know what? I'm thrilled seeing it crowded. I must have seen it 12 times in the past 2 months. It's always a packed house lately. The people are enjoying it. And I look around and it gives me this pride, like I built it, like I have something to do. And I'm just so happy that people are back into it. I love the way they've utilized the 3 heads on the wall, that they now sing, the smoothness of the animatronics, all the eyes work. The theater looks great. They really put love into it. And, they made a couple of changes. It's okay. I think it's great. And I really was petrified that it was not going to be. So I am very happy with the Country Bear Jamboree right now.
That's funny because I asked, in preparation for the show, I asked my Amy what she would choose, and that was the first thing, because Country Bears is her thing. Her reminds her of her dad, and to sit and watch this with her, and she giggles like a schoolgirl. It's great, and she was devastated when they found out that they were going to change it, and she agrees with you that they've done a really good job. And for me, my connection to Jimmy Buffett, his Mac McAnally did all the music and voices one of the bears now, and I agree with you, Panda. I think they did a nice job.
Awesome. Show this to Amy. She has to know that I had no idea she would have thought of that. But
She can probably
and just
hear you
watching
from
the
other room.
oh, that's great. Watching the audiences soak it up just gives me some great happiness knowing it's probably going to stick around for a while.
Yeah.
We've not
Never saw it.
I
We've
know,
not seen the new show.
and I know we were.
Oh my
there.
God, Amy! Tell me when you're going. I'll go. I want to see your face.
I want to see it. That
It's
needs to
good.
be- yeah.
And like Jeff, I don't know if you agree with it. The more you see it, the more you like. These were some necessary, as far as the upkeep and everything, and it's pretty good. They did a nice job.
I really don't have any complaints. I think they've done a great job at keeping something so old fresh. Now, there's diehards out there that are going to want the original version back, but they've done that with other rides. Look at Soarin'. Maybe once a year we can have a Country Bear rewind or something like that.
I really hope we go back to a Christmas version. Also, that'd be
cool.
Do some sort of overlay or something like that.
Yeah.
They used to do that for the Christmas party. You would see a different show with different costumes and different songs. It was great.
Yeah.
That would be so cool. I really had a hard time coming up with this in terms of a positive. We all probably came up with 25 negatives because, that's just how we think. But in terms of something where I was like, it blew me away or exceeded my expectations, I don't know. I feel like I go in with fairly realistic expectations to a lot of things, but it's funny. On our most recent show that was actually before this, we discussed some news related to Disney water parks, and I am not what you would say a water park guy. I'm like, if we go to a beach or something, I'm much happier like lounging with a book on a chair or something like that. I don't have to get into the water. Like I'll walk the beach or something like that. That's fun, but I'm not trying to get like drenched or anything like that. And so with Moonlight Magic events, the water park Moonlight Magic event at Typhoon Lagoon was always one where I was like, if we make it to it, great. If we don't, we don't. I will say it is, aside from EPCOT, which still will always hold the number one position for me.
Yeah.
Typhoon Lagoon, Moonlight Magic is the Moonlight Magic event that is like you don't want to miss it when it comes to these events anymore. We have gone twice now, and both I have vivid memories of. First, because when we went, it was in the middle of a thunderstorm, and yet Disney felt it was safe enough to just keep the park open. And like we're on rides, we're on coasters, we're in the wave pool,
fun.
and there is lightning just everywhere. And you're just like, this isn't safe.
And not just like in the distance, like real bolts of lightning.
There's no way it was safe.
If
like
you
I
were
have no
at
idea.
that Moonlight Magic, so that would have been 2023
yeah.
in May. If you were at that Moonlight Magic, I just want to know how it appeared to you.
You felt safe, but at the same time you were at Disney and you were just like, it's going to be okay. It's going to be fine. It's absolutely fine.
It was fun,
but
though.
I had an amazing time at that. And then this past year, we did Typhoon Lagoon Moonlight Magic, and I actually was sending Jeff and Amy and everyone that went to that this past year pictures from it the other day because they came out with the fact that Typhoon Lagoon and Blizzard Beach was going to be open all summer long. And I was just going back through the photos from that Moonlight Magic because it was absolutely hilarious. We had an amazing time. I love the video that we put together for that Moonlight Magic. Just Typhoon Lagoon is like, and that's why I'm so excited to go to Blizzard Beach this year. I hope that I'm not exceeding, like I hope that I'm not setting myself up for failure, and that Blizzard Beach will like land on my other list here, in a couple weeks or so whenever we get there. But yeah, Typhoon Lagoon, just a huge shocking surprise for me in terms of how much I enjoyed that. Part of it's the company too. You surround yourself with fun people, you're bound to have a good time. So
yeah, we had a great time. We need to get this group to Typhoon or to Blizzard Beach. I want to get Derek in a water park, and I want Panda to go down the big slide.
I'll do it. I've done it before. I did Humunga Cowabunga, and that was a little crazy.
Yeah.
Well, Jeff, this was your topic. Give us your surprise and delight, or whatever.
Well, I had picked two just in case somebody had stolen mine, but we'll go with the one that actually probably shocked me the most. Oh, it pains me to even say this because I was so hard on it when they announced it, but the Cake Bake Shop. I wanted to hate that place so bad. And some good friends of ours that come into town every once in a while, Glenn Davis and his wife invited us to go last time they were there in the group. Hey, Glenn. they invited us to go. He's like, you got to try it. You just got to try it. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to go. It was fantastic. From start to finish, the ambiance, the carousel. We had drinks at the bar before and then had a full meal plus cake. Absolutely phenomenal. I was blown away at how good that restaurant is. So, and for me, that's not a foodie to come around on something like that. Really should speak volumes, because out of everything I've done this last year, that was the thing I wanted to do the very, very least. But,
what kind of things did you eat there?
What's that?
What kind of things did you eat there?
I had the salmon, I believe, and it was excellent. We shared the raspberry champagne cheesecake. Ooh. Or sorry, not cheesecake, raspberry champagne cake. That was phenomenal. And I think Amy just had a salad and the French onion soup, but it was phenomenal. We all got a different dish and nobody was disappointed. So
Panda and I still have to have our egg sandwich breakfast date there.
I want to go.
I've never been yet. I need to go.
And is the carousel there all the time? Because it wasn't there.
Correct, it wasn't.
It is, and in fact, fun fact, there's a seating inside the carousel that I was going to bring this up to Paul, that seats 8 that you have to reserve specifically, which I think would be a really cool opportunity.
I want to eat on the carousel.
Yeah, it's inside the carousel that there's a special table.
How do you
it's like a
get
chef's
it?
table.
How do you reserve it? Do you call?
There's a special number that you call. Yeah, that you can.
Got to know a guy that knows a guy. Yeah.
I
remember, Jeff, you were sending like a text blow by blow the night that you went dinner there, and yeah, it was fun to kind of see you be like, "Yep, it's good." Yep.
Yeah, Amy had the espresso martini, as she does, and the one at Cake Bake Shop actually has glitter in it, so it's like it's sparkly in and of itself, which is right up her alley. So yeah, I didn't realize when you guys were talking about like the carousel and the restaurant itself, I didn't realize there was so many moving parts and animatronics. Very subtle. It's not like the tiki room, but like the horses on top of the carousel move a little bit, and it's just a phenomenal restaurant. It was really, really cool.
Go back.
Yeah.
We missed a lot because we were there really early on. So no carousel.
Yeah.
I want to try more food, and
I would go back in a heartbeat for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
We love
and I've seen, I don't know if it's new. I don't know if it's just temporary or if it's the stay, but I've seen posts everywhere this week. Did you see they have like a cookie dough cake?
No.
Oh, it's like right up my alley.
The only posts that I've seen this week related to cake are disgusting, and it's the new carrot cake flavor that they brought to Gideon's, which just sounds weird.
Too.
Yeah. What is it? What's the flavor?
It's like a carrot cake, which I'm okay with a good carrot cake, but it's like a carrot cake chocolate something. It just doesn't look good, you know? When you take a picture of something, I'm kind of over Gideon's anyhow. I'm more
I am, just because of how hard it is.
Summer House and the desserts that they're doing over there, I think, knock Gideon's out of the park, and they don't cost you a small fortune either.
And you don't have to enter a virtual queue to get it.
That's true, yeah. You can.
I feel like every Gideon's cookie is a lump, and then they just put different things on top of it. But I think that lump is always like the same, which I don't like.
Yeah, see, everybody's talking about this. It's like a cookie dough cake. It looks amazing.
That sounds really good.
Add it to the list of must-dos. Derek, round us out with our positivity before we do what we really want to do and talk negatively about things.
Before we kill it and feel much more cozy.
This was a great topic, and it made me think, and it made me talk with Annie, of course, my wife, when I brought it up, and I said, Jeff actually has a good idea for a show. I'm kidding. But then I told her what it was, and she kind of nailed it. And I was kind of glad, because I was going back and forth between different things. And she's like, no, you know what it was? The biggest surprise. She goes, it's our dinner that we had 3 weeks ago when we did our staycation at the Polynesian just for 2 nights. We went to a place that our last experience there was not good. We know others have not had that good of experience there as well. We know it's not cheap, but we were like, you know what? We're here at the Poly. Let's, the old Disney motto, let's give it another try. So we did Ohana for dinner, and we were so pleasantly surprised. It was great. I mean, there was like 5 of us. So again, it's like $80 a person. I don't know how much it is now, but it was great. And I think the difference, and this might just be our assumption, but we told them when we sat down that Annie would prefer to, stay away from gluten. So therefore, I always think the biggest complaint that you hear about Ohana, which is true because we experienced it the last time, that I think our last time there, by the time we sat down to the time we got our check, it was like 13 minutes. I mean, that's how fast it was. It felt like they just throw you down there. They throw you some pot stickers. They put noodles on the table. They bring you the banana bread, a couple of hunks of meat, and then they want to churn and burn you to get you out to get the next people. I know I'm not alone feeling like that because people have posted. I know I've read all about it. So that was a concern of mine. But I can tell you, our last time 3 weeks ago, we loved it. We must have been there almost for like 2 hours. So I don't know if it was the fact that maybe the gluten kind of maybe slowed it down for us, but it was perfectly paced. The service was great. We didn't feel rushed at all. The food was terrific. So I was very, very pleased to put Ohana back in that was a really great meal. So Ohana, thank you. Mahalo.
I'm happy to hear that actually, because we went, in fact, it was the night of the hurricane when you guys made me put on a raincoat and go outside and go live from
we didn't make you do anything. You wanted to do it.
I know, it was fun. It wasn't the bad, and I think that's Ohana's biggest problem is its consistency. It's either really, really good or really, really bad. There's not really a happy medium, and our experience wasn't that great that night. Yeah. It had nothing to do with the pacing of the meal. We didn't feel rushed at all. It's just the food itself was just kind of felt like yesterday's leftovers a little bit, but I'm glad to hear that you had a good time. I'm never opposed to it. I wish they were a little more consistent.
Yeah, we've been back twice in the past 2 years, I think, and both experiences have been pretty good for us.
I love Ohana,
but that's because we have the PTSD from the post-COVID Ohana, which if anyone got to experience that's when they had like the seafood casserole, which you were like, if anything was like, if you wanted to be like the extreme thing that Amy was excited about and then extremely let down, she was like, we're back. This is when we were in West Virginia. She's thinking about this like seafood casserole. She's like, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be like we're on the beach and this thing is just
I know. We went. I was like, these shrimp died in vain. It's so sad.
But a listener actually reached out recently and said, similar to what you just did, Derek, that it was time to go back and do another review at Ohana, which our most recent review, I think, going on 2 years. It'll be this August. It'll be 2 years old. But that was a very positive review. But also, another viewer or listener said the same thing, that it was knocking it out of the park. I will say that is if the restaurant is functional. So about 2 weeks ago, we were actually, when we did our review of McKim's Mile House, we actually walked over that night and had dinner at Wailulu. And all of a sudden, the walk-up window, amount of wait time just skyrocketed at Wailulu and basically went offline after a while. We're like, what the heck is going on? And our friends Jeff and Dan were over there meeting us for dinner, and they go, oh yeah, we just heard that Ohana had no gas, so they have nothing to actually cook food with. And so everyone's reservation at Ohana was canceled that night. And that's not there's definitely some structural things going on with the Grand Ceremonial House, because there's that. Recently, I think there was a pipe burst and it leaked into Boutique, and that place flooded. So they're having all kinds of issues over there. But Ohana has done well. I've not been to breakfast there ever, or it's been a long time.
The last one was really bad.
I've never been to breakfast.
I've never been there for
breakfast.
It was
powdered. It was fake eggs, and I can't imagine that they do that all the time. There had to be a problem that they couldn't get eggs, and they were like a powdered egg thing. And that flipped me. I couldn't believe the amount.
Is it still a character breakfast?
It was still characters, yeah.
Okay.
Is it sad that I've resorted to not ordering scrambled eggs out just because I'm always scared of powdered eggs anymore? Like, I always basically kind of go for a fried egg.
You shouldn't be. After, $40 or more for breakfast, you should be getting a real egg.
Hopefully.
I can't walk into Ohana and not eat noodles, so I refuse to go to breakfast there.
Maybe they
until they start serving noodles.
Maybe they have breakfast noodles.
They're gonna have a noodle egg casserole that you're gonna get really excited about.
That should be a thing.
No, it should not.
That does sound good. Breakfast pasta casserole.
I've heard of isn't there like a breakfast carbonara or something? I think someone has that.
Carbonara is with egg, so it could.
And bacon already.
It pretty much is a breakfast.
You guys are making me hungry.
It's bound to happen. It's midway through show 2 of the night.
Yeah.
So
all right, let's turn this around and get negative.
Panda, you're so excited for it. Kick us off, man. Take us into the gutter, Panda. We want to go along with you.
But I feel like what I picked might be other people's picks as well. But I thought about what was like the biggest letdown, and it's the transformation of EPCOT. It really is. And the more I think about it, the more I want to strangle Mr. EPCOT or whoever's responsible. I can't believe
Figment.
Thank you. I can't believe the Odyssey building and that wraparound beautiful video that was all around you, and it just showed so much promise of I don't think anything from that ever really happened at all. None of it. Between not Alice in Wonderland. Wow. Mary Poppins and everything. It was, and I can't believe what we got. What we got is just like 4 walls and a space. I'm just blown away by when they said that with this, the transformation of EPCOT is complete. I thought that was a joke. I really did. I still do. I'm still disappointed in their vision of that park, and I still think it needs an overhaul. Still.
Remember the whole when you went in and saw that?
That's what. Yeah, the Odyssey Pavilion.
That's what it was. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Do you remember? It was like 20 minutes of what's coming, and it was like wondrous.
They should just bring that back so that we can just feel like
the Cherry Tree Lane part was so cool, like with all the cherry blossoms.
Remember the pink flowers blowing around? Yeah.
It's funny that you brought that up because that's what my Amy said too, and I would even say lesser so. Just that front part of EPCOT. I know we didn't get Mary Poppins and I know that stuff, but the Moana thing is a one and done. It took them 16 years to build a fountain with some picnic tables. Like the whole thing was such a letdown. I'm with you there, man. That was Amy's choice. I mean,
the front with the small monolith, it's cute, but that does not make EPCOT. I mean, Spaceship Earth needed their overhaul too. That never happened. God.
And the festival center that we lost, the two-story festival center that's now turned
where you were on the roof.
It's turned into a permanent Moana sing-along
cafeteria.
And literally a cafeteria.
Oh, that
merch on one
the
side.
Encanto show outside to me is just. Oh, what?
Oh no! It's so loud. It's so loud. Like I heard it the other day. I think I was in Germany, and you could hear it all the way across the water. Oh,
because it's 2 people with a soundtrack, not even really.
Yeah, and
that weird fake Cirque du Soleil show that they do in the cage with the strippers. I don't know. The whole thing is just weird. I've tried to watch that thing 3 times.
About Vegas.
Yeah. Hold on, where was that show?
You guys know what I'm talking about, right? Where each one's I don't even know what it is.
I know what you're talking about, but I've not actually watched it. I've only seen pictures
Cirque
of it.
du Soleil meets nature, and it's right by.
Yeah. They took the small illuminations globe and they just outfitted it to have people on it. I feel like
That was a good pick, Panda. That was a good one.
Good choice.
That was a good choice.
I didn't even think of
it. But it's just such a big letdown still. I can't get over it. I can't.
Hey, but we're getting Polynesian in Canada, so that's right?
Oh.
Amy, what topped your list of letdowns?
All right, well, I'm changing mine a little bit because I thought about it a little harder.
Oh, okay.
And it's similar, but so originally I was going to say the opening of Big Pine Key because we went to the opening and it was such a letdown. Like nothing. And Panda, you were there.
Yeah.
Nothing happened. It was like
they didn't even have the shrubbery.
It was
they're
still putting in shrubs, and it took until 5 till your room was ready, and then it was your room's ready.
Ta-da!
Anyway, but then I thought about it even more, and I'm probably gonna make some people mad, but Derek doesn't know where we live yet, so that's good. I think Big Pine Key in general was kind of a letdown for me. Overall, if you really look at it, it just felt like a cheaper remodel. The walls and the door frames and the doorways and the baseboards, and you can just tell that they're all the old, materials that were already there, and they didn't do anything to like improve. The walls are made out of graham crackers. They didn't do anything to improve the sound quality, how loud it can be in that building, which was always a complaint.
Yeah, they didn't even improve the electric at first. They were concerned about putting microwaves in there.
Right. Oh, yeah. And so I just was kind of disappointed by that addition. And I don't know what it is. I've said this before, but when we bought Grand Floridian, I felt like this is like, I am a Grand Floridian owner and I love owning this resort, and it's so hard to get into, but I've got my Grand Floridian points. And then adding Big Pine Key kind of like cheapened it. It diluted kind of the ownership there a little bit. So it's not as special anymore because everybody owns Grand Floridian now. And I just offended like a whole wave of people. I'm sorry. But at the same time, I'm glad it's there. I'm glad that, that DVC members have more options. I just was personally a little disappointed with the building. I know.
So funny because Panda and Amy have stolen the top two that I have on my list here.
Oh, you put that down? Oh,
I put Big Pine Key. Well, what I said was my stay at the Grand Floridian.
Okay.
Because I've only stayed there once, and it was at Big Pine Key, and that's really was the beginning of the end for me as to why I don't understand why people love that resort so much. Now I understand. I've never stayed in the actual Grand Floridian, so we'll get there, and I'll change my mind.
That I got.
Yeah.
But to Amy's point, you could hear the neighbors as if they were in your room with you.
Yep.
You have to walk a mile to get anywhere. I just didn't like it. It was not for me. It was so overrated.
Derek,
for the audio listeners, Derek's just waving.
Just waving his hand.
Derek is.
I think he shut his computer.
He's quitting the show.
No, I mean, we don't have to go into it, but I couldn't disagree with all of you more, and I love all of you. I couldn't disagree.
I liked my room at Big Pine Key. I did.
Thank you. I absolutely loved my room. I loved the layout. I loved the decor. I loved the little simple Disney touches that it still. I loved that location. If I have a choice now, and if I want to stay at the Grand, and if Annie and I look, and it says, okay, do you want a studio in the original DVC building, or do you want one of the new ones? I will always pick the new one. The location is closer. I love it. It's right next. It's got the best pool. I don't like the main pool. It's too loud. It's too small. It's too crazy. But that main quiet pool they have is fantastic. Perfect location, right by the boat docks, by the pool, by the main building, the decor inside, and it's still the Grand. So it's like, if it allows more people to experience the Grand, and I think, to me, I love it, because for 20 some years of talking to folks about Disney, the number one resort people would always tell me that have never stayed there is like, yeah, we're not going to go to the Grand. Yeah, you don't understand. We're not Grand Floridian people, Derek. That's just not our speed. We're not that. I've had so many folks that finally have stayed there and been able to stay there because of these studios, that they fell in love with it. And they're like, oh my God, I don't know why it took us so long. It was so relaxing and it felt so upscale and the location was so perfect. So for me, yeah, you guys couldn't be more messed up with this, but that's fine.
Amy, do you remember my room was a little different and there was like some nightlight in the wall?
Yeah. You were in like
I loved that.
What is
yeah,
the turret.
The
room.
turret.
It had more like height to it, and you had a much bigger balcony off the side.
Yeah, but not one of those doesn't have a balcony at all. The one on the 5th floor, I don't think has one at all.
No, and you had like a little sitting area too, where it's like you could entertain.
It was adorable. But the nightlight panel or something was like almost like a stained glass nightlight, and I loved that addition.
Look, it's great if you want to feel like you're staying in a hostel and hearing everybody. And
I didn't go that deep. I didn't go that dark.
When I was in college, I
went to a hostel.
I worked for housing. No, I worked for housing maintenance department, and so in the summers, I would help like repaint dorm rooms, and it was a state college at the time, you know what I mean? So they were cheap, and we just repainted over like old doors and old crap, and that's what it reminded me of when we first went into one of those rooms, just like repainting over old wood and stuff. Like some of them they didn't even scrape well enough.
I will agree with that, and it's funny when you were talking earlier, I never thought about this during the entire Big Pine Key flip. but is it coincidental that this happened right after the year when the NBA stayed there and they blocked off all of Grand Floridian and the NBA stayed there?
I forgot about that.
Did they trash Big Pine Key and then we're like, what do we do with it now? DVC.
I didn't even think about that. That's funny.
I know.
Probably there's some truth to that.
I had never even put that together myself.
And we followed with that one of the players that did like a YouTube vlog.
Yeah, he had like a YouTube vlog throughout the entire.
And I will tell you, in his vlog, he he took apart the furniture and wanted to lay on the floor instead on his mat. Like it was was probably pretty interesting. So
yeah, that brings back some memories. Well, speaking of that time frame, which was kind of pandemic, post-pandemic, that is for me where the biggest excitement, which I think it was just the build-up around it, but for me, the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World, specifically that day, the day of the 50th.
October 1st.
That day for me, there was so much build-up for so much time. Granted, we had, the pandemic come in the middle of all of that excitement, and a lot of the original plans, I think, kind of got canned. But what we ended up with that day was just chaos, merch lines, and really kind of mediocre merch originally that came out for that initial day. I loved the 50th celebration. It actually got better, maybe about 6 to 8 months later. But the experience on October 1st was just kind of mediocre at best. After all of us saw Enchantment for the first time, we were kind of like, what? And it was just, I think it was just like you set your... I try not to do this too much in life, but it's like you set your expectations and you get so excited for this moment, and it's like 50 years of Walt Disney World. Like,
nothing really happened that day.
And then it's just kind of a womp womp. Like it just.
You compare that to what they did with Disneyland's 50th, and I remember that very vividly because that was one of my favorite vacations. But it wasn't just. I mean, Disneyland was the one that started it all, so that was the focus of the celebration. But all of the parks worldwide also participated, which to kind of curtail on to what Paul said, the 100th anniversary of the Walt Disney Company, I was expecting some pretty big things that we didn't get anything out here. Yeah. It was all focused. But like Disney World got, they brought the car show over, the stunt car show from Paris as a celebration. And they got, each park got a little something to help celebrate that, and it was a resounding thud. You're right, I had forgotten about that, but
and the fact that that Enchantment didn't have any like Walt starting it or classic movies. It was all current. It was like what anniversary? Like
they added Walt later to it.
Because the outcry was ridiculous.
And it just goes to show too that love it or hate it, if you were around or experienced the 25th anniversary of Walt Disney World, again, love it or hate it, what they did to that castle, their songs that they had, Remember the Magic, like that's of still.
I remember it still.
Was that the big cake castle?
Yes, that was the cake castle.
At least they did something. One of those,
Oh, right. I mean, they did something with it, whereas I know it was like the 50th. I would have thought, because we got married right around the 25th. I was like, oh my God, the 50th is going to be insane. It's going to be great. And then you go, so what's happening for the 50th? And you're like, I don't know. There's like a phone app and we got to find like a golden Groot in like a shrub somewhere. And it's supposed to like make a noise. And you're like, what? Are you serious? Like that's it for the 50th? Like
to this day, I absolutely love those things because you see people walk by them in the park, and no one to this day really understands what to do with them. But everyone in front of them is just like this, and they have no idea if it does anything or if it works. And then, truthfully, the random guy that's not even trying to get it to do anything walks by, and his magic band vibrates and it does something. Like that's how they function. So, but yeah, and again, I don't want to. Again, I love the 50th anniversary. I was extremely sad when it was over. Like after those 18 months, and then there was none of the 50th music or none of the 50th. Even what they did to the electric water pageant. Like loved.
Oh, I did love that.
Loved the glow up that they did to that show for the 50th, and thought that they needed to somehow keep it around
now that
a little
that's
bit.
Gone, it feels really short.
Yeah, it feels short. It feels a little bit empty. I loved how there was an announcer that talked about the history of the electric water pageant so that people could understand. Nowadays, you just hear the music, and unless you actually know what's going on, you're just kind of like, what's that? Who's playing loud music? And then you kind of see this out on the water, so you really don't know what's going on.
On a more positive,
This is Derek's sing-along show.
On a more positive note, I think that the best part of the 50th is still with us.
Yeah?
What do you think that is?
I would
The
have
painting of the castle?
Earth.
Yes, Spaceship Earth, Points of Light. That was added, which
That's
is the
true.
name of the little lights that are all over Spaceship Earth. That was added for the 50th, and they kept it around. And I think that's the best thing that came out of the 50th.
And kudos to that one that when the entire castle is white, it's green. I want to be that light when I grow up. I want to be that light.
Yeah, right.
Everybody knows which one I'm talking about, too.
Yep.
All right. Who's next? Derek, to talk us into what really let you down.
So this is kind of a different one, perhaps, because it's nothing that maybe anybody else obviously might have experienced. But when we talked about it, we're like, okay, so what about a disappointment? Something that you had huge hopes for, and it turned out maybe not to be so great, and you were disappointed. And mine is a very specific one that I will say with the disappointment, but then I will follow it up quickly with how it redeemed itself. So disappointment came when it came to Disney cast members. And I say this because we all know the hidden gem, the key to Walt Disney World, what differentiates it from any other place and the Disney parks are the cast members. So they are truly what makes the magic happen. My personal experience, my biggest disappointment was when it was my 25th wedding anniversary. We had got married at Walt Disney World on May 13th, 1996. We knew that our 25th was coming up, so we were able to get a room at the Grand Floridian right next to the wedding pavilion on the exact same day that we got married 25 years ago. So when it came to this trip, I was like, okay, let me do some research because I have a little bit of a room request, and I know everyone does. But I just want to be able to maybe to look at the wedding pavilion, like have a balcony that we could look at the wedding pavilion. We didn't want an upgrade or anything like that. So I had looked into, what's the best way to do it? And I swear to God, I think I did everything possible. I was faxing smoke signals. I had a horse drop off something at the resort with like a cake, anything to just try to get my room request to say, listen, we're going to be there on the actual day. Is there any way that we could get just a nice view? We had paid for a lake view. So we just have it look at the cat. Because how often is it 25 years ago that day, someone's right there, got married right next door. We had then got there, we checked in, and we explained to the lady, this is such a big day. My God, it was literally almost at this exact same time. We had just gotten married 25 years ago. And she's like, oh, that's so great. Let me check you in. And your room is ready. So we're like, okay, this is either really good or they're just going to throw us into like the first available room. And they threw us into the first available room that overlooked the parking lot. And it was just one of those things where it was like, and I even called like from the room and I was not looking for any sort of an upgrade. It was just we barely saw the lake. It was a lake view. So we talked to them and I was like, listen, I'm not trying to be difficult, but I got one 25th wedding anniversary where I'm right next door to where I got married. Is there any way that there's another room maybe available that could have a little bit better of a view than like a sliver of the lake and the parking lot? And they were like, no, I'm sorry. No, that was it. So we're like, okay, let's just make the best of it, which of course we obviously did. But we went out to dinner and we came back that night. And we're so used to Disney service after so many years that we're like, okay, I think everybody on property cast member wise knows, because we've told everyone that it's our 25th wedding anniversary today. Surely we're going to get back to the room and there's going to be like a cookie or there's going to be something like a little, hey, congratulations, blah, blah, blah. Got back to the room, nothing. Not one thing. So there was no sort of acknowledgement of this monumental that for us, again, it was such a huge, huge deal. And that's, if we didn't expect it because it's happened before where Disney cast members go above and beyond, we wouldn't have been so kind of disappointed, which then segues me into staying at the boardwalk for my wife's 50th. We had just let them know in a simple way, nothing is crazy, because it was like, oh, it's our 50th. Hey, if we could get a cool like boardwalk view room, that would be great. This was just a couple of years ago. And we checked in out of nowhere, didn't even say anything. They upgraded us to a 1-bedroom boardwalk view room. We had checked into the room and they had a set of these coffee mugs from the boardwalk. They had a whole little like cookie platter with a big happy 50th birthday sign on it, a little thing from the characters. You know, we hope you guys have a magical 50th birthday, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, that's what I'm used to. Like that kind of service, that, you know, kind of going above and beyond. And you know, it didn't cost them anything, but it meant the world to us, because it was like, well, we don't expect anything on this trip based on what happened on our 25th, but we were so pleasantly surprised, and we're like, that's the magic that cast members need to have, that ability to be able to, in those circumstances, do those little things that don't cost them. Honest to God, it doesn't cost you anything, you know, but it means the world to people when they do those kind of out of nowhere little experiences. So that's my disappointment followed by a redemption, I guess you could kind of say. That's it.
Yeah, that can really, that would be very disappointing to me, especially if I had gone through all of that work. Like, you know, even to this day, a lot of people like look at us and they think we get special treatment when we go to the rooms and resorts. And it's like, we do not, you know, and we don't ask for that either. Like, we want to be treated like every other Joe Schmo. I want, you know, you all, the listeners, the viewers out there, to be able to celebrate your special events and your trips in a unique way here. And I want Disney to use that extra pixie dust on all of you, because we get to live down here in the magic. That's, you know, that's special enough as it is for us, but to go through everything you went through, but you just had to be famous on some mediocre podcast on the internet, and then finally they acknowledged you and gave you some mugs, apparently. So.
Right, but that's just it, and that's how important cast members are, and why we all love them so much, and why we go, because so many of the greatest stories that we tell our friends and tell our family, like, why are you going back to Disney World again? My God, go somewhere else. So much of that is because of our interaction with the cast members, you know, so that's why we do have such high expectations of them. And when they're left to doing what they can do best, it's life-changing.
It's awesome. Yep.
Yeah,
for sure. Well, Jeff, round us out. I think I've got everyone else on their negative so far. So let's kill this puppy. Take us all the way into the darkness.
My two really good ones, Panda and Amy, already stole, but we don't need to talk about them. So I had a backup, and this is going to sound like a weird flex, but believe it or not, out of all the attractions that were built at Walt Disney World, the one that was the biggest letdown for me and still remains to be is Remy's Ratatouille Adventure.
Oh, yeah.
And the reason for that is we rode that in Paris when we went in 2017 and loved it at the time. And then it was announced that it was coming to Disney World for the 50th anniversary, and we got super excited because I kind of thought that maybe they would update that ride and make it cool for us down here in Disney World. Yeah. It's the same technology as Rise of the Resistance, but it's just a universal ride with screens. And I think I was just so let down. They punted with something for the 50th anniversary, to Paul's point, that I rode it the last time we had some friends in town. This has been about 3 months ago. And I still don't get why it's a 90-minute wait all the time. That ride just sucks. It sucks almost as bad as Figment. And that's saying something.
Wow.
I don't get it. There is no upgrade to it. It's just They took Paris and brought it over here and did nothing to it. So it's already dated compared to Rise, compared to Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway that all uses that same technology. You look at what you can do with that type of ride vehicle. Even SeaWorld has a better trackless ride vehicle than Remy. And so I was just so disappointed that it's just screens with like a physical set that you look through, but the car doesn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Epcot needs rides so badly to suck up some of these guests that we talk about, and for them to just kind of go, we're just going to bring this one over from here. We're going to bring Tron over, which is also the exact same clone. Like, make them a little different. Do something that makes us special. Not, we're just getting everybody's leftovers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how that sounded to anyone else, but it sounded like an admission of guilt that Jeff started the fire behind Epcot the other day to try to actually get off Remy's Ratatouille adventure. Yeah, Tron was in my head the whole time you were talking.
We never ride the Ratatouille ride because it
was a one and done.
It's not that I dislike it to Jeff's level, but it's not exciting enough to warrant the wait time.
Right.
And I'm sorry, but 3D technology for me, that is so outdated anymore.
It's jumped the shark.
I know. Stop making me wear glasses.
When they tried to get everyone on board with the 3D televisions for your house, and I'm just like, I hate 3D movies in general. Just make my television better and make my viewing experience at home better. Like, why do we have to go 3D? Like, no.
Yeah. And you look at these, and I'm not saying that everything has to be a Rise of the Resistance. It doesn't have to be that epic of a scale every time, but you can do more with an attraction that you've already made. That
all right, we could have got an extra scene. An extra scene would have been great, like a big extra scene.
Make the car do something other than make them, instead of the screen making it feel like you're doing something.
The car tilts a little bit, but it's not enough to.
But not like the dancing scene in Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. This is what I'm talking about. The technology's there to do a lot with. All you're doing is watching snippets of the movie inside a little rat car. And at least the Paris one exits into their French restaurant.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like
that was a huge miss.
I don't know. I was really disappointed in their lack of updating for that.
Yeah. Although Jeff, if it makes you feel better, I did hear that they're working on it now, and it's supposed to be ready like in a year. So the little rat car's going to somehow go over to Canada and right into the Polynesian Sales Center. So it's going to be a perfect segue.
Well, one of the big things that I think jumped off the page when Jeff came up with this topic for us was that we are super excited to hear about your experiences. What are things that have been a pleasant surprise in the Disney parks that you have experienced? Try to stay positive like we did early on in the show. Think about those things that really surprised you, whether it be related to the parks or Disney Vacation Club. And then, of course, we want to hear about the things that really disappointed you as well, because those things empower us and give us show topics for future discussions to ramble on about. But please leave those in the comments of this video, or if you're listening to this on an audio podcast, you do have the ability to comment there as well, or join in the conversation over in the DVC Fan Facebook group. But we really look forward to engaging you in those comments and hearing what you have to say and those things that have either surprised or disappointed you over the years when it relates to Disney and Disney parks. But that's going to do it for this week's episode of the DVC Show. We hope you enjoyed it, or if you didn't enjoy it, then maybe this is your disappointment for the week. But until next week, we will see you next Monday.